It's me, Ryan, and I'm going to be presenting my What Was I Thinking paper. Could capitalism be considered a religion? I never thought of the definition of religion before. Religions were simply, well, religions to me. Thinking of democracy, capitalism, or nationalism as a religion would have seemed absurd to me not too long ago. A few weeks into my rhetoric and social science courses, and now the definitions of a religion were no longer so simple. I was not raised religious, but my family is Muslim. I participated in ceremonies for Muslims, Christians, and Jewish people alike. I used to think being religious was just adhering to principles, worshiping in communities, and trying to live a morally just life. Religion can mean different things to different people, and that's just what religion meant to me. Capitalism was more straightforward to me since I thought it was all about money, and it has impacted me as long as I've been alive. However, I did not think much deeper about capitalism than the pervasive impact of money on society. At the time, I knew a blatant similarity between capitalism and religion was capitalism serves essentially to allay the same anxieties and torments and disturbances to which the so-called religions offered answers. The only relationship I saw between capitalism and religion was that they were both put in place with the intention of facilitating progress. I'm currently taking intermediate macroeconomics, which helps me understand capitalism is more complicated than just buying and selling items. I only put it together later that the only way capitalism can work is if large groups of people can trust each other without physically seeing what they are putting their trust in. When I wrote my answer to the in-class writing exercise, I claimed capitalism had something in common with religion. I thought of the two as similar because religion and capitalism both present their principles as facts that can be used as an excuse to harm others. In the words of Susan B. Anthony, I distrust those people who know so well what God wants them to do to their fellows, because it always coincides with their own desires. The Crusades were fought with both sides believing they had God's blessing, and the countless lives lost were all justified because of this blessing. This is just one of the many examples spanning across the history of humanity ever since religion was first created. Just like how religion has been the biggest justification for bloody conflicts, I thought the same applied to the capitalistic idea that following your desires helps everyone no matter what. The environmental consequences of capitalism are clear as day. Yet I feel like most people could care less about the damaging outcomes of capitalism because they believe it will guide the populace to wealth. The invisible hand theory appeared in the 18th century, created by Adam Smith to explain how individuals pursuing their own self-interest will improve all of society. People still use the invisible hand as an excuse for the consequences brought by their endless pursuit of material wealth. There was still another similarity between religion and capitalism I had yet to realize. One of the first things I learned about while beginning my College of General Studies courses was how imagined realities functioned. In the modern era, we have cities containing millions of peoples and countries with populations numbering over 1 billion. Yet the original human tribes could not sustain very many people at all. When the kinks of societal structure were being worked out, gossip was an important source of information for early humans. And once the population rose above a certain small number, it was extremely difficult for people to know one another and work together. To get over this barrier, imagined realities had to be created. An imagined reality is something people believe in, which does not exist in the physical realm. Despite not actually existing, imagined realities were powerful in the way they progressively allowed more and more people to unify. The first thing that came to my mind while learning about imagined realities was religion. But now I understand capitalism can be thought of in the same way. Rather than believing in a god, workers believe in limited liability companies and labor under them. Instead of doing deeds with promises of a non-physical afterlife, workers spend their entire lives chasing money, which may not even be physically available as banks are constantly loaning out money. If everyone wanted to abandon religion, the religion would immediately cease to exist. And if everyone wanted to abandon a currency or LLC, they would disappear as well. The benefits of capitalism cannot be understated, as it creates more competition amongst people and creates more wiggle room between social classes, to an extent we have rarely seen in the past. That competition is what gives everyone hope that they can one day rise at the top, and has exponentially improved humanity in the past few centuries. Society would not be where it is today without religion, as there has been no significant example in history before our time of a society successfully maintaining moral life without the aid of religion. Even though there are those who would use religion as an excuse for violence, without a doubt, humans would still be living in the early Neolithic era without the unifying powers of religion. Capitalism and religion both rely on imagined realities and were created for the same purpose, pushing humanity forward. Before starting CGS, I only thought of capitalism and religion as vaguely similar concepts. When I first began this assignment, I only discussed the ways capitalism and religion could be used as reasons to harm others. Now I think capitalism and religion are one and the same. Both modes of organization were necessary for advancement, yet they also brought unfortunate consequences for humanity and the environment without physically existing in our world. Thank you for listening to my presentation on how I slowly realized the many similarities between capitalism and religion.